Shane Carter and his company Ridgeview Construction create award-winning sustainable homes that save energy by consuming less. We caught up with Shane on the worksite of a home that incorporates solutions of all kinds.
Today we are in beautiful Derry, New Hampshire, in a very wooded parcel, and we're building a really cool timber peg Ridgeview hybrid home, timber frame hybrid home.
Timber framing is neat in the sense that it's very process oriented. You know, A begets C, begets D, and there's no skipping it. So you get to start with the bottom timbers and move all the way up. And it's a simple, it's one of those cathartic building processes, you know, where it's not bound up by technology. It's, you have your tenon cuts and your mortises, and everything goes together. You drive a tree nail, trunnel through that, and that makes the connection.
And although the assembly on site of a timber frame home is not bound up by technology, back in the mill where these particular sections came from, precision computer-controlled machines were used to reduce the amount of waste produced in the cutting process.
We deliver the most sustainable buildings we can and communities for people here in New Hampshire, Maine, and Massachusetts.
But sustainable buildings aren't just about gadgets and doodads. Some of the features in this house are engineered to save energy simply by being incorporated into the design of the home. It's an idea called passive design.
So here's a good example. This is the south face of the house, and so we put up these solar shading elements, these little roof lines here, because in the peak of the summer, this house would overheat if we didn't have some shading and some way to get that heat to not come in. So these roof lines are set at the right angle and at the right depth off of the house to stop the sun from penetrating the glazing there. But still, in the winter months when the sun is lower in the aspect on the horizon, it still allows the sun to get in and get some passive solar gain that way when the house needs it in the winter. So that's a pretty cool element. A passive house uses 10% of the energy of a house built to typical code today. And that's just tremendous. So just
not 10% less, but
10% of
1/10
of what a normal home built today would use. Not even the homes that we all live in that built in the 1900s or 1800s. So that's a tremendous concept. And the thought process is put a lot of your budget and a lot of your energy into really air sealing and creating a super insulated shell, and offset that by having such a lower heat demand and lower consumption in the house that you're really working. You're not consuming. You are much more passive in that way, and that you're not using resources as much. And it's very easy to heat and cool a home that way in terms of the energy you would need to do that. And hopefully, if it's designed properly, it would even be much less in terms of the water consumption as well as the electricity consumption there. The house actually consumes less, and now this is the important part, for its lifespan, not our lifespan. All these houses we build should be around for hundreds of years, and I'm pretty sure I won't be, but
yeah.
but these houses will be. And so what the energy these houses use in their lifespan is very important. It's a huge impact, really, for all of our built environment.
Here in New Hampshire, where the residential sector is one of the largest consumers of energy, thinking green and building green sustainable homes makes a lot of sense, but it wasn't always a priority.
15 years ago, we weren't talking green, at all. The conversation, really, with the exception of a few very particular niche markets, it wasn't a conversation we were having yet. Really, I think it started with just, trying to, insulate houses and seal houses. I think that's where a lot of it really started to come from. And then, moves into cost effectiveness, and then, being able to take that the next step, with Energy Star labels or, the LEED certifications and whatnot. It's neat. It's just, seeing what out there. Again, it's just like, how much, we can do. Being able to, value engineer things by being able to use, drawing upon our own construction experience, whatnot.
A good example of value engineering is the way Shane works with the land to preserve each work site's natural resources. Incorporating each lot's natural features into the design of the home is a solution that can save both money and energy.
We really worked with the natural topography. This land had a great slope to it. The clients happened to want a walkout basement so that they could have a finished basement. So we helped them select this particular lot and develop it and build on it so that it met their needs while working with the land as much as possible. It also coincidentally happened to have the right slope and grade of the land to a beautiful solar south orientation, so that we're able to take advantage of passive solar elements in this house as well, and really hopefully offset a little bit of their BTU needs and heating demand in the home. So that's sort of how we try to work with natural resources as much as possible in the land.
Shane has degrees in forestry and environmental sciences. He says he likes to bring an environmental sensitivity to the construction process. Often, that means taking the time to get to know a site.
This was so dense and so thick and so overgrown, and we came in here and I was flagging all the trees and saying what we're going to choose to keep, and we're keeping these little birch trees over here, and we got this cool little, this huge actually Russian olive that if you were to go to buy that at a nursery would be, I don't know how much, but a lot of money. And we're able to leave that here just by identifying it in the land clearing process and saying, oh wow, that's cool, let's keep that. It's another feature we found over here is this old chimney from an old homestead, and just in the deep of the woods, you couldn't. This was so thick in here, you couldn't see it.
Wow.
And on the side of it there is a little opening, so that was the chimney to probably a very old, for 1700s, definitely 18th century, I would say, and they've just been abandoned long ago. But it's a cool feature, along with these old stone walls that were, just in the middle of the forest. So we try and keep really neat features like that. The homeowners absolutely appreciate that. They take complete pride in this element now because it's unique. How many of us can say that we have an 18th century chimney in our backyard?
Yeah.
While Shane and his crew work on one sustainable home here in Derry, we might wonder, what's next?
And when people really start to change how they think about homes is when we're going to start seeing the innovation come about, when the costs come down and whatnot. That's the big thing we're waiting for. The ideas are there, all the framework is there. It's just a matter of executing and allowing builders, the trade groups, vendors, all kind of come together, and that's when we're going to see the $500,000 house and under being able to be available for everybody. As far as being energy efficient, being able to use reclaimed resources, being able to use recycled lumbers, being able to use energy efficient building practices, and to have that cost be available to everybody. And I think that's going to be the next thing to see.
But we're also working on our own parcels of land for future development in the coming years, where we can implement some of our land development goals and strategies to create more engaged communities, to create communities that are much more focused on agriculture and truly being sustainable as a development itself, not just sustainable in the individual home we build or in the individual feature of a home, but sort of taking a step back from that and hopefully creating a sustainability on a larger level as well.